like the one
Okay,
day
I'd
I
like
forgot
to
take
call
my
this May 13th, 2024 council meeting to order. If you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Will the clerk please call the roll?
Hazeltine.
Present.
Rose. Shields. Simpson. Coin.
Here.
DeSalvo.
Here.
Hare.
Here.
Reading of the minutes, Mr. Shields.
I will make a motion to approve the minutes from the regular meeting of April 22nd, 2024 as prepared and submitted by the clerk.
Second.
Any discussion on the minutes? Will the clerk please call the roll on approval of the minutes?
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
DeSalvo.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Reports of standing committees. The Finance Committee met for an hour and a half prior to council, and we'll meet again in 2 weeks to pick up where we left off. Health, Safety, and Sanitation, Mr. Simpson.
Thank you, Mr. President. Prior to finance this evening, we had a health, safety, sanitation meeting just to give an update from the police department, sanitation department, and fire department. Thank you.
Public Properties, Mr. Shields.
Thank you, Mr. President. No meeting scheduled, no report this evening.
Special Legislation, Mr. Rose.
Thank you, Mr. President. No meeting scheduled, nothing to report.
Streets and Sidewalks, Ms. Hare.
Thank you, Mr. President. No meeting scheduled and nothing to report.
Water and Utilities, Ms. Hazeltine.
Thank you, Mr. President. Same old, same old. Nothing to report, no new meetings.
Emerging Technologies, Mrs. DeSalvo.
Thank you, Mr. President. Nothing new to report, no meeting scheduled this time.
Thank you. Next, we have requests for council action. We have several for the Finance Committee. 24-101, Medina Municipal Court Renovation and Design Submittal Review. 24-102, RETA Compliance Program. 24-103, Vacation Policy for Experienced New Hires. 24-104, Amend Salaries and Benefits Code, Sick Time Payout. 24-105, Ohio Law Enforcement Body Armor Program. 24-106, Fiscal Year 24 CHIP Grant Application Authorization. 24-107, Fiscal Year 24 CHIP Partnership Agreement. 24-108, ESID Adopt Levying Special Assessments for Legacy Hotel. 24-109, Maintenance Agreement with Medina County. 24-110, Amend 3102B1, 3105, and 3107 for the Parks Department. And 24-111, Municipal Court Pay Code Updates. Reports of municipal officers. Mayor Hamwell.
Thank you, Mr. President. I wanted to share with council that our police chief, Ed Kinney, was elected the second vice president of the Ohio Police Chiefs Association. That's a progression then, so next year he will be the first vice president, and in 2026 he will be the president of the Ohio Association of Chiefs of Police, and in 2027 he will be the past president, which continues to serve. So it's really a 4-year commitment, but I just wanted to congratulate Chief Kinney on that election and serving, representing the police chiefs throughout the state at the legislative level. National Day of Prayer events were May 2nd. There was a 9:15 service at St. Francis. I'd like to thank Council at Large, Paul Rose, for attending. There were also prayer stations at the Medina Hospital and the North Court Laundromat. It's called the North Court Laundromat because that's where they used to be located, but now they're at West Liberty and State Road. And they had a number of people take part at both of those. The Love Medina event took place on Saturday and Sunday, May 4th and 5th respectively. I did the welcome and the prayer to kick it off on Saturday morning. And there were 5 churches involved: First Baptist, Grace Church, Medina East Campus, Grace Church from Westfield, the Chapel of Medina, and Cornerstone Chapel. And Saturday morning when I kicked it off, there were about 650 volunteers to go out in our community and do public service for our seniors and disabled folks. On May 10th at 11 a.m., there was a dedication ceremony at the Spring Grove Cemetery for signs from the National Underground Railroad Network to Freedom. And the signs were placed to recognize Herman and Sarah Canfield and Harrison G. or H.G. Blake and his wife Elizabeth for their efforts with the Underground Railroad in our community. Thanks and appreciation of the Friends of the Cemetery in Medina for their efforts in achieving this recognition. It was quite a laborious application process, and thankful to the Friends of the Cemetery in achieving the designation, as well as the council members Reggie Hare, Paul Rose, and Denny Simpson for attending and presenting the council resolution. And last but not least, this coming Saturday, May 18th, from 3 p.m. to 8 p.m., there's going to be a gospel fest on the square, and there's no reservations or cost. All are welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Durham, Director of Finance.
Thank you, Mr. President. We had a number of that hour and a half meeting earlier, and we have an item on the agenda, which I'll talk about when we get there.
Thank you. Mr. Huber, Law Director. You're up. Any report? Oh, thank you. Mrs. Marshall, Economic Development Director.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have no report this evening.
Thank you. Chief Kinney, Police Department.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd just like to bring to your attention some recent recognition two of our employees got this morning. School Resource Officer Nick McLaren was awarded the Going the Extra Mile Award there through the high school. He serves at Medina High and has for several years. This award recognizes Officer McLaren for serving on committees, assisting others, improving the culture within the high school, spreading kindness and enthusiasm in the workplace. So congratulations to Nick for winning that award. Additionally, on May 22nd, Dispatcher Patrick Villanuevo will be receiving the EMS Star of Life Award in Columbus. He is a recipient of this award for his coordination of an animal attack call that he took that was occurring in Medina Township. He was able to coordinate a combined response of EMS, fire, and police, and it significantly decreased the injuries to the victim, although she was still seriously injured from that dog attack. So congratulations to both of those employees for their recognition. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gladish, Building Official, and welcome back. You're looking great.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just a quick update on two of the larger projects taking place on Court Street. South Court Street is the Acme. Site work and underground utility work is taking place now. They do have a building permit and plan approval for the building. So as soon as the site work gets complete, they'll start building the building. And then on North Court, it's the Myers project. Over the last couple of days, they're ahead of schedule. They did start a little bit sooner than what we had expected, which is not a problem. Is the parking lot, 90% of the parking lot has been what they call roto-milled, so it's been ground up. The parking lot is pretty much, the asphalt's gone, and they're going to use all that's going to be recycled on the site for backfill for the trenches and for compaction. They're working on building the building pad now, and then footer work should start shortly. Their goal is to start to reinstall the parking lot by the end of July, beginning of August. All landscaping will be in place first week in October, and then everything's going well on that project. They're ahead of schedule.
Thank you. Ms. Latuka, Municipal Court.
Thank you, Mr. President. No report tonight.
Thank you. Mr. Pacoli, Service Director.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have no report this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Patton, City Engineer.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to report ODOT has one more major phase of the State Route 18 project, that is placing the surface course of asphalt. They're planning to do that starting the week of Memorial Day. All the work to do that will be done at night in order to avoid interruptions to the daytime traffic. We don't have a specific date for when the work will be in the city or near the city. Once we do, though, we will notify residents and businesses in the area of those days. It should only be 1 to 2 nights actually in the city, but it will be at night, and it certainly will be loud and disruptive.
Thank you. Chief Walters, Fire Department.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have no report.
Thank you. Mr. Dutton, Planning and Community Development Director.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to update council on a couple of projects that were approved by our boards commissions last Thursday. First, there was Medina Metropolitan Housing Authority received approval for an 11-unit multifamily development for those at risk of homelessness. It's on Lafayette Road, west of Independence Drive. If you'll recall, council rezoned that property to kind of pave the way for this project. The second is the hotel project received approval from all the boards and commissions. That's for both the hotel and the event center. So both projects will be moving on to building permit and engineering review. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Notices, communications, petitions, there's none. Unfinished business, we have none. Introduction of visitors. Members of the public are permitted the opportunity to speak on any issue or concern which pertains to the city during the portion of the council agenda devoted to introduction of visitors. All comments shall be directed to the chair in a reasonable time, and approximately 5 minutes will be imposed. If there's a group, please appoint a spokesperson. Speakers should approach the rear microphone and state their name and address so it can be entered into the minutes. Members of the public will be afforded the opportunity to comment on other portions of the meeting as determined by the chair or by a vote of the majority of council members present. Is there anybody that wishes to address council at this time? Sir?
Good evening, Mr. President, members of council, city officials. My name is Darren Stout. I'm the director of the Medina County Drug Task Force. I was asked to be present tonight by the mayor and chief to share some of the collaborative work going on with the Medina County Drug Task Force and our community partners, so to speak. Those of you that might not be familiar with our agency, we are the only drug enforcement body within Medina County. We serve as the drug agency for each of the 14 law enforcement agencies throughout the county. We are the only agency, law enforcement agency in the county that is 100% grant funded. We're funded through the local anti-drug levy grant, federal grants, and state grants. We've put a lot of stuff out with the Chiefs Association, and they sit on our boards and whatnot with our investigations. There were 200 felony investigations that occurred last year. We participated in 495 calls for service, which include forensics exams, lab testing, investigative assistance, and technical assistance. The thing that I really want to touch on with council and our collaborative partners in the room is our outreach and harm reduction programs. I've said this publicly numerous times. With the drug epidemic, we can't arrest our way out of the problem, we can't treat our way out of the problem, and we can't educate our way out of the problem. It's got to be a three-pronged collaborative approach. So we've been in the process of beefing up our outreach and harm reduction strategies as a collaborative approach with the Drug Task Force. To start with, our dump program, or dispose of unused medication properly, that and the National Drug Take Back, we have collected more than 20,000 pounds of unwanted prescriptions this year alone. We had 12 cases that we referred to internally to either drug court or intervention cases out of the 200 felony investigations. We also referred 5 cases to pre-arrest diversion services. The most staggering number that I'm going to share with you this evening is since 2020, the Drug Task Force, along with the collaborative partners in law enforcement, treatment, and service providers, have reduced the fatal overdose rate by 48.71%. That's unprecedented in the state of Ohio, and I would venture to say in the United States. This is all due to the collaboration with our ADAM board members, the health department, the county opiate task force, and the anti-drug role model and education programs that we're using in our school districts throughout the county. Those programs are all at no cost to the taxpayer here. Those are all brought on by state grant initiatives such as Recovery Ohio, and I'm pleased to announce that we just applied for another grant initiative through the state and federal government to bring on a full-time diversion and outreach coordinator at the Drug Task Force. This will enable us to connect people in real time with treatment and addiction services as opposed to making lower level arrests on the spot. This individual will also be working collaboratively with the municipal courts throughout the county and the common pleas courts to try to better connect services in a real-time manner at the scene of the traffic stop or the house that the patrol officers are called to. So that would be a huge help to us. It's a 2-year grant through the Comprehensive Opiate and Stimulant Substance Abuse Program, or the COSUP. That's one thing that I shared with the mayor and the Council of Governments, and they were very excited about and wanted me to come here and share with you all. That's also something that we could look to fund in other avenues in the future, such as the One Ohio initiative or other programming. So that's basically all I have. I really wanted to touch on the harm reduction strategies because they're working. You know, in addition to the enforcement action that the team's doing, and our law enforcement partners throughout the county, it's been a very nice surprise to see the work that's being done. So, if anybody has any questions, I'd be glad to.
No, we appreciate all that you do, and I think it's going great.
Yeah,
What you've been telling
thank
us,
you.
That's great.
Thank you.
You said my 2 favorite words, harm reduction, so I'm here for it.
I appreciate it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anybody else that wishes to address council at this time? Okay, introduction and consideration of ordinances and resolutions. At this time, I entertain a motion to suspend the rules requiring 3 readings on the following ordinances and resolutions. Ordinance 9124, 9224, Resolution 9324, 9424, 9524, and Ordinance 9624 and 9724.
Mr. President,
Mr. Shields?
I will make a motion to suspend the rules requiring 3 readings of tonight's ordinances and resolutions.
Second?
Any discussion on the motion to suspend the rules? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
DeSalvo.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Ordinance 9124, an ordinance amending section 3113 of the Salaries and Benefits Code of the City of Medina, Ohio relative to vacation.
Mr. President,
Mr. Shields?
I would like to make a motion to amend ordinance 91-24 before we vote on it this evening.
Sure, go ahead.
I would like to amend that anybody who leaves within 1 year of their initial employment would not be paid out vacation, which is not currently in this ordinance tonight, but I'd like to add that.
Second.
Is there any discussion on the amendment? I guess, Mr. Durham, you could talk about the amendment and the ordinance at this time.
Thank you, Mr. President. The ordinance, what this does, as it currently is set out, employees of the City of Medina do not receive any vacation until their 1-year anniversary date. So it's not calendar year, it's their anniversary date. Whenever they're hired, a year later, they get their vacation. They earn it, but they don't get it. In terms of how we account for it in the finance department, they don't get their 2 weeks until they get to the end of the year, and then they start accruing in real time from there. That's come up as an issue with a number of departments, and we wanted to be able to give people that are starting their vacation time a little sooner. So this ordinance will make it so they begin to accrue their vacation on day 1, but then that brings up the issue of whether or not you're going to pay it out, which is what the amendment is about. Under the current policy, you pay out whatever they have, but since they don't get any in the first year, it's not an issue. So this will, with the amendment, they will accrue the time, but if they leave within a year, they won't be paid for it.
And they also accrue the time, but they could use the time.
They can use the
But
time.
if they don't use the time, they can't get it.
But if they don't use the time and they leave, then they won't be paid out.
Okay, is there any further discussion on the amendment? Will the clerk please call a roll on the amendment?
Coin.
Yes.
DeSalvo.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Now, is there a motion on the ordinance as amended?
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion on the motion of the ordinance as amended? Will the clerk please call the roll on the approval of the ordinance as amended?
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
DeSalvo.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Motion, ordinance 9124 passes 7-0 as amended.
Ordinance 9224, an ordinance authorizing a job creation grant agreement for Sandridge Food Corporation.
Move to approve.
Second.
Mrs. Marshall?
Thank you, Mr. President. This request is to authorize the mayor to enter into a job creation grant agreement with Sandridge Food Corporation for the purpose of renovating their facility located at 820 Lafayette Road to allow for their expanded sales and marketing departments. Sandridge will have a total investment of $2.5 million for the facility improvements, and they have committed to creating 10 new full-time positions with new payroll to the city of Medina of $600,000 over a 3-year period. The agreement will provide Sandridge Food Corporation with a grant up to 40% of the new payroll taxes to the city of Medina for 3 years. The Business Development Committee did meet on April 3rd and recommended approval of the grant agreement. And as a reminder to council and the public, grant payments are funded through non-income tax generated revenues. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion on the ordinance? Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the ordinance?
Coin.
Yes.
DeSalvo.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Ordinance 9224 passes 7-0.
Resolution 9324, resolution authorizing participation in the Ohio Department of Transportation's cooperative purchasing program for the purchase of sodium chloride rock salt.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion?
Mr. President,
Ms. Shields?
the emergency clause has been requested. I move to add it at this time.
My second includes emergency clause.
Discussion on the emergency clause on the resolution. Mr. Pacoli.
Thank you, Mr. President. So we received this notification to participate in the upcoming winter salt program with ODOT on short notice. That's the reason for the emergency clause. It's less than a 3-week turnaround to give them our numbers. This is for annual road salt. Thank you.
Winter, you're already talking about winter. We didn't even get through spring.
Actually, we're getting our last load of salt this upcoming Wednesday. We're getting 1,200 tons, so we'll fulfill our obligation from this past winter without summer storage.
That's great. Any further discussion on the emergency clause and or the resolution? Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the emergency clause?
DeSalvo.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the resolution?
Hare.
Yes.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
DeSalvo.
Yes.
Resolution 9324 passes 7-0.
Resolution 9424, a resolution authorizing the mayor to submit a grant application to Ohio Bureau of Workers' Compensation, OBWC, for the purpose of purchasing 2 portable traffic signal units.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Mr. Pacoli.
Thank you, Mr. President. So if we're successful with this grant, it becomes available in July. This is for the submitting the application only at this point. If we're successful, we have the opportunity to receive $40,000, and it'll be towards the purchase of the 2 portable lights that are on 2 separate trailers, automated. With that, we will be able to fund the other $23,000. Total cost is $63,000, so we're hopeful to get $40,000 if we're successful, but we'll find out in July.
Thank you. Any further
Thank you.
discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the resolution?
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
DeSalvo.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Resolution 9424 passes 7-0.
Resolution 9524, resolution authorizing application for grant assistance from the Medina County Drug Abuse Commission at McDAC for funding to support the Medina Police Department School Resource Officer Program.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion?
Mr. President,
Mr. Shields?
the emergency clause has been requested. I move to add it this time.
My second includes emergency clause.
Discussion on emergency clause and a resolution. Chief Kinney.
Thank you, Mr. President. We're requesting authorization to submit the McDAC grant and accept if awarded. This is a collaboration between the Medina Police Department and the city schools. We have 3 school resource officers. This grant, if awarded, will fund a portion of the salaries for the 3 school resource officers. Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry, the emergency clause is requested because the due date has passed on the grant.
Thank you. Any discussion on the resolution or the emergency clause? Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the emergency clause?
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
DeSalvo.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the resolution?
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
DeSalvo.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Resolution 9524 passes 7-0.
Ordinance 9624, an ordinance amending ordinance number 19414 passed November 14, 2024, relative to the Job Creation Grant Program guidelines and application.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Marshall.
Thank you, Mr. President. In 2007, Council established the Job Creation Grant Program to be more competitive when attracting new businesses and retaining existing businesses. Just as you heard about, the program offers an incentive to eligible companies to establish or expand their business here in the city of Medina and to create and retain jobs. The city offers an eligible company an annual grant payment based upon a percentage of the annual payroll withholding taxes generated from the new employees to the city of Medina. This was, that first ordinance was 154-07. In 2014, council modified the program to allow for smaller eligible businesses to take advantage of the program. That's the referencing ordinance 194-14. One of the goals this year for the Economic Development Committee was to look at the program to ensure that it reflects an incentive based on today's economy. And that was kind of preempted by one of our new companies looking at the city of Medina that we had been in discussions with, which is Famous Supply, where they were saying, hey, we could meet the payroll, but the job number was a little bit lower than our 10 threshold. So we said, well, we would have to take a look at that because it's set up by ordinance, so unilaterally the administration couldn't change that. So we took it to the Economic Development Committee, and they had recommended revising the program to reflect the number of jobs, which has been reduced from creating 10. So it would be create 5 new jobs, but we would keep the payroll the same. The minimum threshold is still $330,000. So then that would give us a higher average annual salary. The other items that we did some cleanup work in the job creation grant guidelines, we were referencing the old CCA, and now we have RETA, so we just made some of those little modifications. The application actually did not change. The Economic Development Committee did meet on March 7th of 2024, and they voted 11-0 in favor of the program and revisions with a retroactive date of January 1st, 2024. And then, so the law director's already approved this. And just a reminder to council and the public that this program is funded through non-income tax generated revenues. Thank you.
Thank you. I just want to make one correction. I think Mr. Picola got me excited, and I said November 24th, 2024, which hasn't happened yet, so winter's not occurring. It was 2014. So, so just want to clarify that. Any further discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the ordinance?
Simpson.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
DeSalvo.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Ordinance 9624 passes 7-0.
Ordinance 9724, an ordinance amending section 94311 of the codified ordinances of the city of Medina, Ohio, relative to the schedule of charges and fees for Spring Grove Cemetery and repealing ordinance number 18121 passed November 8th, 2021.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Picola.
I'll take that one, Mr. President. Thank you. So construction of the columbarium number 3 is underway, and as Jansen explained in the Finance Committee 2 weeks ago, we need to amend the cost for the columbarium niche in order to prepare for the construction of a 4th wall. The forecasted lot sales revenue from the columbarium number 2 caused a shortfall for this current one that's being constructed, number 3. Due to the rising costs of the columbarium number 3, it resulted in a need to significantly increase the price per ditch. Additionally, we talked about requesting the increase for a lot transfer fee, the increase of footer foundation fees, adding administrative fee for all columbarium niches sold back to the city, and lastly, a fee for the replacement niche covers. These changes were reviewed by and unanimously approved by the Cemetery Commission at our regular meeting that was held on April 2nd of this year. Cemetery staff done a great job vetting these prices with local cemeteries, and they seem to be in line with what other folks are doing.
Thanks. Any other comments? Will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the ordinance?
Coin.
Yes.
DeSalvo.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Hazeltine.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Ordinance 9724 passes 7-0.
Council comments? Oh, Mrs. DeSalvo.
I do. So, because I'm very conscious of this, with the advent of school closing in the upcoming couple of weeks, I just want to remind everybody in the community to please be extra careful when you're driving around, because our elementary school students will be very excited to be out, and I want to make sure everybody's paying attention when they're driving. And then with the upcoming Memorial Day, I just wanted to say thank you for your service to everyone who served, including my husband, 87 to 89, and my son, Kyle DeSalvo, 2009 to 2015.
Thank you.
Oh.
Yep.
I just wanted to do another shout out to the Friends of the Cemetery. The Spring Grove Cemetery is a beautiful cemetery in our city, and members of the community take a hike out there and just walk around and see the beautiful work that the city and the Friends of the Cemetery have done to maintain the cemetery. Also want to encourage the members of the community to attend the Gospel Fest that will be held on the square this Saturday from 3 to 8. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sarah. Mr. Rose?
Thank you, Mr. President. Chief Kinney, congratulations. I know you'll do the city proud.
Mr. Shields?
I will make a motion at 8:01 PM that we go into executive session for two topics. One, to consider the purchase of property for public purposes. If premature disclosure of information would give an unfair competitive or bargaining advantage to a person whose personal private interest is adverse to the public interest. And for the second purpose of conferences with the law director of the city concerning disputes involving the city that are subject to pending or imminent court action, to include the mayor and the law director.
Second.
Will the clerk please call the roll?
DeSalvo?
Yes.
Hare?
Yes.
Hazeltine?
Yes.
Rose?
Yes.
Shields?
Yes.
Simpson?
Yes.
Coin?
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
We'll be recessing into executive session to discuss the items that Mr. Shield mentioned. We'll be returning to council, taking no action of any item discussed in executive session and adjourning from council. We are in recess.